Good morning, everybody. There we are.
Good
Hello.
morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Or two Nick just coming back.
Arthur Nick
Yeah.
making an entrance. So, all right, gang. It is episode 159. We gather the nerds. I'm Cav. That's Hannah. Earth to Nick, and Church is here.
Hey guys.
We implemented a new agenda system over the week, and it has been highly successful because we've got a page and a half of stuff to talk about, and that's even cut down. So we've got a lot of different pieces of things. Before we start, show note announcement: starting next week, the show is moving to 1 o'clock Central Standard Time instead of our traditional 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, because that will give the opportunity for other people, including
What the heck?
What the heck?
What was
the
that?
heck?
What?
Sounded like something crashed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was moving something so I could get to my post-it note to cover you up.
We have chaos going on already.
So that will give us the ability to have other people sit in, other hosts and things like that, including possibly, maybe even Sam. So we will. So that will start next week.
It lost its stickiness.
Oh yeah, show everybody the post-it note to. This is because she doesn't like Church's mask, and so she created a post-it note.
See, those are his glasses, and then obviously the rest. So it fits up at the end of his glasses, kind of like. So it covers his face.
Yes.
It's a good mask.
It's a good
Just fog up
mask.
the glasses though.
I just don't want to see it like constantly.
dream?
Yeah, when you're doing stuff like that, I would like to not
see all that.
That looks like those killer clowns that were terrorizing people a couple of years ago.
Len says he's out because of that.
Yep.
Good morning, Beavis Shield. Thank you for watching us over on Twitch. As always, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we are everywhere, and even YouTube. So he says, "Yep, Church, I'm out." He's out.
So quick, we almost had him.
So close. All right, we're going back to 10.
I'll get it.
So, all right, so let's dig into this. What we've got going on this week, because there's quite a bit. This first thing, I find this in Church, you're going to appreciate this too. So Dr. Anthony Fauci got his own baseball card for throwing out the first pitch at the Nationals game. Easily top 5 worst first pitch ever. Pretty close. Not quite 50 Cent, but fairly close.
I believe they're dubbing it the Corona curve.
Yeah,
it could be. So what Topps now is, Topps will do a limited print run of a card, and that will be it. Like, it's only it. So Dr. Fauci's, I think it's the largest print run ever for Topps now. 55,521 cards were sold. On average, they're like what, for like a 5-pack? It's like $20, $25, Church, something like that.
Well, no, I thought basically you get them for $10 each. I thought.
Is it $10? Maybe it's $5 for something like that. Well, here's the thing. Really wishing I would have bought like 50 of them.
Yeah,
because
me too.
Because they are consistently on eBay selling for an excess of $100. So
they've gone down.
Early on, it was $200 and $300. There's several people who were selling packs of like 5, things like that.
I looked 2 days ago because Shanna's grandfather messaged me and was like, "Hey, I heard this is a thing. Can you get one of these for me?" And I said, "Sure, I'll look it up." And then came back just a little bit later. Was like, "No,
sorry,
can't." So yeah, it is a. I think for a print run of 55,000 cards, like for a card that has a print run that big to go for 100 plus is, I mean, that's
about
really
usual in today's market now.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to me to do something like that, but you know, like you said, it's one of those opportunities. Like, man, I wish I would have bought like 20 of them.
Yeah. Yep.
So, Yep. So this is his first and potentially only baseball card. How long? How long before he signs one of these things when they get printed and it ends up on something and it's going to be a Beckett, PSA or a Beckett or a PSA, 1 of 1, market or whatever. Like, how long does it take him to sign one of these in person?
Oh, I'm sure it's already happened at this point.
I don't know that they have them yet. I don't think they've printed yet.
Oh,
They're still a 55,000 print.
don't you think
is-
Topps should get some to him though?
I'm sure Topps
Bless you,
probably
honey.
will. Bless you, Shanther.
Bless you.
Could you guys do your sneeze?
Yes.
Wow, good mic.
Yeah. Hey, Mom. How are you?
I need it.
All right. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. $100. Like, one sold this morning at 7:30 this morning, 12 bids, $113. Yep. Yes,
So you said they hadn't been printed yet? How are they being sold
They're-
if they haven't?
They're pre-ordering.
Pre-order?
Yeah. Basically, they have Topps confirmation that they're going to get X cards, and they've basically pre-selling them out.
You know he's going to end up in Allen and Ginter.
Oh, 100%.
And they're probably going to, once we finally get everything, not back to normal, but we get a vaccine out and everything, they're going to have a wacky Corona relic card of some kind.
Probably.
Like 5 years from now. Corona cells. Each
I was
be
gonna,
dish
I was
samples.
gonna go with like PPE, stuff like that, like mask samples, like mask relics, like you said.
Authentic pandemic worn.
After this has not been a thing for quite some time, I feel like somebody would do something like that.
Like people collect old World War II gas masks and stuff like that.
Uh
I
Right.
don't know anyone who does that.
huh.
I don't know
Did you do
anyone
that?
that tries to scare people.
Are
They're
you my
back-
mummy?
Yeah, I was gonna say with
It's
his Doctor Who references.
Yes. Are you my mummy?
Are you my mummy?
Speaking of that, we're getting more and more plans for theaters to open. You might want to get a full post-it note ready. Hannah looks
Right.
like he's probably wandering off. Regal's announced what their reopening procedures. Regal's looking to reopen around August 21st. Talking about full masks all the time, things like that. Especially in the lobby, but even in the theaters themselves, masks will be required unless you are eating and/or drinking.
So like restaurants.
basically, and they will allegedly be monitoring said theaters. So, Regal used to be one of the theaters that really kind of like Alamo in terms of if you were on your phone or something, there you go. If you were on your phone or something like that, that they will politely ask you to put it away, and then if you don't, they will politely ask you to leave. So I don't know what's going on over here. Yeah. So
I changed your smiley face. It's now frowning. But that's hard to breathe in.
It's very annoying on the microphone too.
I like Darth Vader. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It is cool. But
Why just wear that all the time?
So they're looking at theaters looking at reopening, things like that, which leads into our next thing, which is a couple of big stories. Tenet has moved yet again, and Tenet will be released internationally in August before coming to the U.S. on September 3rd. So it will release in over 70 countries on August 26th, including Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Korea, Russia, Spain, and the UK. So it will be out there for a week before it comes here, and then we will see. Which is interesting. There's always a risk with the Just gonna hold on. I'm just gonna do this. Give me a second. Which mouse am I working on? I'm using that one, and there we go. And so there will be a. There's always a risk when you do something like that, in terms of piracy.
That's what I was worried about. Yeah.
And I mean, that is what I feel like. That is what is likely to occur. But what I found interesting is that a lot of the countries in which piracy takes place, and Sam with a well-timed yar, Korea, yes, Japan, yes, but like China, something like that, where traditionally a lot of those things will hit the market from, is not in there now. Russia is the one interesting one, but they're ready to get this going. They're ready to get these movies out. So we'll see if that falls in line with everybody's reopening plans. I don't know. We'll see. We talked about this a few weeks ago, the spat between Universal and AMC and other theaters in terms of the theater window. And this announcement that they came to. Hey, Rock. This announcement that they came to is I find this very interesting. Like, this is, I don't want to say like the beginning of the end, but this is something. So Universal AMC theaters have announced a multi-year agreement which films released under the Universal Pictures and Focus Features banners, which is kind of like the independent side of the Universal side, will be exhibited in theaters for 17 days. So 3 weekends is where they'll get. What's very interesting about this is that traditionally the previous agreement, the theatrical window was 90 days. So this is basically what I'm calling the 30 days to VOD plan. And I'll be very curious to see if anybody else really, if they get this agreement with other theater chains as well, like Cinemark or Regal, those people as well. So because at that point, yeah, it's 30 days of VOD all day, like, because I think that
Wow.
I don't see any benefit in movies being in a theater for 90 days unless you're a Star Wars or a Matrix or something
Nothing
that
actually
is going
stays that long. Yeah.
something, yeah, you're going to have longer legs. And with that, because like you look at like on the top of this article, which is on IndieWire, there's a picture of the Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss, who was also in West Wing, which, by the way, I've been binging like crazy. I challenge anybody that the best first season of television ever produced is West Wing. Fight me.
I started watching it too.
Yeah. I can't.
I recently finished it.
This is probably Misty just shook her head at me. This is probably through the first 4 seasons, the Aaron Sorkin seasons, this is probably watched through 6 or 7. And I think I've done the whole series 3 or 4 times. That show, that show's incredible.
So do you recommend it?
The West Wing?
Yeah, the West Wing.
The West Wing, they could have a station that's all that it's on, and I would subscribe and pay for that station.
Oh, like Impractical Jokers channel.
Yes, like True TV.
I love it. I started watching it too that same day after we started talking about it. And for a second, I had to stop watching it. Before they even introduced the president, I got maybe a minute in and I was like, this kind of hurts me right now. And I had to stop. But I picked it back up later on in the evening, and I made Lynn rewatch it with me so he could watch CJ's introduction, because I had forgotten hers and how she face plants.
Well, it's so timeless. Every issue they talk about, we're still talking about.
Yeah.
So I can't tell, did they make this a decade ago, or was this filmed last week?
Yeah.
And we'd also noticed that whenever they're calling the president POTUS, no one else knows what they're talking about. Versus now, where everyone knows what POTUS is. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Well,
anyways,
What's funny about that is the introduction. You've got the introduction of the president and everything. The interesting thing that's a lot of people don't know. Yeah, and yeah, Sam, that is also correct. He has not aged a day. And speaking of Rob Lowe, West Wing was supposed to be a Rob Lowe vehicle, a Rob Lowe show. Like he was the headliner. If you look in the early seasons, he is the first person in the credits. Martin Sheen was only supposed to be in a handful of episodes in the first season. But they saw what happened and turned the show around, which is why, spoilers, later on down the line, Rob Lowe left.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is, West Wing trivia. I have a lot of it. There's also a really great podcast called The West Wing Weekly with Josh Molina, who played one of the advisors in the later seasons. And they literally go through every episode, and then they'll have guests like Bradley Whitford and people like that on the show. It's pretty amazing. So, yeah. I'm on a super West Wing kick right now.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, eBay is a bad place right now. So,
you watching it on eBay?
No. I'm looking for props.
Oh, okay.
He wants to buy West Wing things.
Yes, so,
he's trying to find the seasons on DVD.
Yes, I want to find them on Betamax.
I have to tell you how big of a fan. Not like how big, but I actually went out. I remember because I started watching it like a couple of seasons in, and it was still on TV, and there wasn't like DVR or anything yet. So I had to go find like at Walmart or something the seasons on DVD, and I would binge a season, and then I would like immediately go back, and I'd have to hunt for whichever season I was on. I'd never do that now, but
yeah, it's
Churchill will sell them to you for $5.
Well, one of the coolest. I always like when they do like full series runs, compilations of shows, and they put them on physical media.
Mm-hmm.
And the West Wing has one of the coolest ones because it's in what looks like a folder, like a West Wing, like something you would carry, like an official thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you open it up, and it's it looks like file folders for every season.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So, yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. So, sorry, back to this. So, Invisible Man, no one's going to watch it after 3 weeks anyways, unless it's some, like, crazy hit or whatever. So, It benefits the studios to be like, hey, 3 weeks in a theater and I'm out. Now, I don't... it would not surprise me that even if for larger, places like Lucasfilm or whatever, that maybe they don't get this same deal, Disney and whatnot. But even if they did... that there would be one-off exceptions. Like it would be like a Marvel Avengers movie is going to be in a theater for 90 days. I mean, we've talked about how like Star Wars movies, there are specific criteria that theaters have to meet in order to even get it. And so it's like it has to play on your biggest screens for 6 weeks. It has to play on a minimum of these screens for X number of time. Stuff like that. Whether you're selling tickets or not, it has to be in there. And so I'm sure there will be different stuff, but for us, I say a smaller studio, like Universal's got Fast and Furious. And so you have to wonder if when Fast 9 comes out, if there's going to be some sort of, different agreement with them or something like that for a movie like that.
It makes sense to have exceptions, but I think this has been coming a long time, and I'm really looking forward to them testing the water with this and seeing if they can lessen that window to tie the two stories together. A lot of people, if they give the chance, they'll pay money if you give them opportunity. But now you have like the Tenet being international, but not in the U.S., and people can't see it, and that's going to drive up the demand for illicit downloads. That's what happened with Game of Thrones. People could not buy it or rent it anywhere, and it was the most highly pirated show ever. And then as soon as they actually invented their streaming app and gave people a medium, that went down. So I think this is a good solution for that. Like, just let people watch it. Let people give you money.
Yeah.
We want to give you money. Just let us give you the money.
Let us give you this money.
Why won't you let us?
Church, do you have an earthquake over there?
He's laughing.
Yes.
Yes. So, that's the thing, especially for these smaller, more independent. I would say independent. The sad thing is independent, like a film with less than $100 million budget, like a $20 or $30 million movie. Why not shorten the window and get your money returned even faster? Because it's one thing if if let's just use The Invisible Man for example. So the movie's in the theaters. It does okay. Some people like it. Some people are talking about it, like, oh, okay, maybe I'll go see that on an afternoon or something. But it's gone.
Mhm.
And traditionally, 90 days, 2 months later, nobody's going to remember. But if it's like, oh, it's out of the theaters, oh, but I can grab it on Amazon for $15 or $10 or whatever it's going to be, like, why not?
Plus,
Like,
those streaming sites, whichever ones it goes to, they can promote it.
Mhm.
So then when you're like your watch now or you're suggested you see it, you're gonna be like, oh, I meant to see that in theaters or whatever. I was curious about it, and you'll buy it. But with the Avengers and Star Wars and all of that, Disney I think has a leg up because they have their own service.
Yeah.
yeah,
So they'll make money either way.
yeah,
They can make it in the theater, and then if people want to subscribe so that they can watch it later.
yeah. Sam, I don't think they can break the $20 barrier, to be honest with you.
No.
I don't think I think I don't think they can break the $19.99 barrier at all for that. It's just I don't know, I mean,
Over
if it's-
9,000.
if it's a West Wing movie, maybe I pay that money, but the yeah, I mean, I think for $20, especially if there's two of you sitting on the couch and want to watch a movie, that is cheaper than going to the theater.
Mhm.
And people with families, people who have young kids or babies, they can't travel to the theater, or you got
Yeah.
5 or 6 people watching it. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to
Yeah.
pay that ticket prices. But back in the day, they didn't have streaming, so that's 3
Yeah.
months was production time for them to like manufacture VHS and DVD. So it actually they're actually spinning up manufacturing. We don't have that anymore.
Mm-mm. I
So-
mean, yeah, really, you definitely have some, and like I said, this isn't
You
going to
still
change
have
the
some.
release. This isn't going to change the release date for physical media at all.
But that's what they're doing is they sell on streaming ahead of time anyway, and then they
Yep.
try to double sell you with a physical
Yep.
copy with some extras and a nice box. But they always do the streaming early. They want to sell it twice.
Yep,
Mhm.
and always the double dip, and
Yeah.
I mean that the interesting thing too is this also. I mean, this really is the death knell. Not that there's many of them left. Like this is the death knell for the dollar theater because that was also part of the release thing,
Yes.
which
Mhm.
was
Right.
the Cinemark and the whatever the $2 theaters. Because it's out of the main theaters. No one's saying it, but people will pay $2 for it. So I'm going to go do that because the money's not in the money's not in the ticket. The money's in the popcorn.
Concessions, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, and so, but I mean,
You're
there's
right.
really not any dollar theaters anymore because home theaters really killed the dollar theater because like now you can watch something at your house that unless it's a fairly decent theater, like the experience is better at home.
Yeah.
And people have been spoiled by recliners and all of these things in theaters. Now it's more of an experience.
theater
Like going
room.
to,
Mhm.
Like
And
going to the
often they don't have
movies-
a budget for that experience. Like
It's-
they're
yeah.
building old chairs and everything, and they can't really.
Yeah. You can recreate that in your own house now. It's awesome.
I mean, going to the theater now.
Some people can.
Well, I can't, but some people can, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I got
The-
crappy chairs and sticky.
I mean, you have to be like
fingers.
Bruce Wayne, but
Yeah.
Hey, I had a Lazy Boy, which is super comfortable, so that works too for the theater.
Kurt,
I
come
mean-
over and I'll kick the back of your chair while you watch a movie.
Yeah.
Charge you $20.
Yeah, I was gonna do that for free. Like, we'll just so, there's a lot of
I'm going to take top on his offer there.
yeah, so, there's a lot of different. It definitely is. The theater going experience has changed because now, like when we go, like when the group goes to a big movie, like as much as it is about the movie, it's about all of us being together and whatever. Even though the funny thing is, like we talk for the 20 minutes before the movie. We talk for about 10 minutes after, and we don't talk during, usually. But the fact that there's 10 or 12 or 15 of us all together experiencing something at the
Yes.
same time,
Hmm.
and Sam gets his pretzel, and everybody's happy. Like, that's the... speaking of that, I didn't even see his comment there.
Oh, I thought
So,
Oh,
yeah, I
Rick
mean, that,
Rickwood sounds good.
it's become, it's an experience for a lot of us, and
I
so...
love the experience. Yeah.
Don't forget the Grand Burger.
I miss the Grand Burger
I
so
know.
much. I really
know.
do. Did
I
you ever?
love the burger on this?
Did you ever experience the Grand Burger? Earth 2, Nick?
From
No.
the
From
Warren.
the Warren? Oh,
No, I've been to
man.
the war. I didn't eat food there though, but I
It
eat at Alamo every time.
was so American.
It is yeah. I may
And
make
Alamo
that.
has a pre-show. Which
I was gonna
love.
say Denver has Alamo. He doesn't
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
Ward.
That's true.
They have the pre-show that if you're watching like a big series movie, they do like a previously. They catch you up on everything in Thor. And I was watching I, Tanya, and I had missed everything going on in the real world. But they showed like news clips and SNL clips, like here's what happened in the real world in the '90s, and it made the movie better because I understood what was happening.
Yeah.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
Yeah.
Yep. So at some point we're gonna have to
Super old
Yeah.
reference.
yeah, we're gonna have to get together whenever we can at some point for a
Here's
watch
the latest
whatever, and
episode
we're gonna
of
have
Night
to
Court.
go on. There's another. John Larroquette was on Night Court, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was Dan.
Plays Lionel Tribby, White House counsel on West Wing.
He does. Who's also on Parks and Rec, and that's a lot of comparisons between Parks and Rec.
Like
and
Dan
West.
Larroquette, or
Yeah.
John Larroquette was on Parks and Rec.
Mhm. Very briefly, he was a potential love interest for Leslie's mom, and it was
right.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So we've got. We were talking about Star Wars and things like that with everything. It
Don't
being
forget, Brett
experience and people
Spiner was
getting
on
together.
Night Court.
Was he really?
He was
was.
also
Wars. So,
he was also in Star Trek.
Yes, he was. There is reportedly, and it's a shame. Well, I mean, Earth 2 Nick, you're gonna have to be step in for Earth 1 Nick here.
Wars.
Yes, thank you. There apparently is a Lucas cut of Rise of Skywalker, allegedly.
How's my role or to Nick? I sent that link in.
Yes, and so where Anakin shows up talking to Rey.
Yeah.
So there is Rey is struggling with the dark side or whatever.
Well, you didn't see that in the theatrical cut. Like they got a lot of talent in just for like a single line. I'm like,
Yeah.
you got Hayden Christensen back, and that's all you did with him? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
We were talking about this at some point, Sam and I. It wasn't about Anakin. It was about like Kerry Russell's part, which might not have been Rise of Skywalker.
It was.
Is that the okay? Because we were like, I remember when it was announced she was going to be in it, and you thought, oh, it's Kerry Russell. This is going to be like at least a medium-sized part, but it was this tiny small that I didn't even realize it was her because she had the mask on,
Yeah,
and
she
it was
plays Zori.
basically just so that she could say, "Hey, go over here to this guy." To
But
lead
more
the-
important, but
She
more
did the right
importantly, she saved Babu Frick. So I mean, there is the Babu Frick, the best part of Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
So,
Hey!
in a world where we have the Snyder
In a
Cut actually being released, do you think we'll ever see the Lewis cut? Like, that's what
No.
I'm really excited. I want it.
No,
I need
we'll
it.
never see it.
Oh.
There's also a rumored scene talking about where Kylo sees Han. Leia force projects herself
that's what
into the
kills her.
scene. Yep.
Yeah.
And Luke also shows up, all his force ghosts, so she projects everybody.
I would have loved that. And that should
and
explain
that-
what happened to her.
Yeah, that would have been like I really would like to have seen that. I
That
really
would
would
have given the emotional impact to her passing that we really,
Yeah.
I didn't really feel in Rise of Skywalker.
I always just assume as soon as she felt that Han had died and she felt that it was her son, that
Yeah.
she was like, I can't forgive him.
Yeah, it was
I'm done.
implied. If they gave a big emotional.
I mean, I would have liked the emotional aspect, but I was just like, I remember when he did that, I was like, I don't think you can come back from that.
I think I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think your
Okay.
family's coming
They
back.
could have gone with the redemption story, but nope, that's blown.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
So the interesting thing about that article too was it rumored that Kennedy is out.
There, some people because allegedly, the Lucas cut tested the best in the theater with like an 88 or something, and Kennedy went with the theatrical cut anyways, which surprises me because Kennedy was part of Lucas, like she was
Yeah.
part of that group.
Close with that.
Um, but they're talking about with how disappointed people have been with stuff. There's rumors of them bringing George Lucas back in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's back up the Brinks truck. Let's back up like 5 of them, because he didn't already sell it for $4 billion. Let's give him another $1 billion. So there's that rumor, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Her whole thing was Star Wars, and it has been failure after failure after failure.
She's a mess.
And I don't know, like, that's the thing. I don't know. And so, I mean, Sam brings up a very, I mean,
that's kind of where I'm at too.
No.
I think so. I
You
think
think-
there's been enough time between he's learned his lessons, and I think that he has
Matrix.
he's had issues. Like, I mean, like, he's gone and he's consulted with all of these films and Mandalorian and stuff.
You just can't have him be the guy in charge. You can have him being part of it, but you have to surround him with good writers and good directors.
Okay, so
His part of
yeah.
the original trilogy was not in the weeds. He was the big picture guy, and he was on the special effects. But he had Kasdan doing writing, and he had other people that were really good directors that drove the story and made huge decisions. And by the prequels, he was a god, and no one argued with him. And he was writing, and he was directing, and he was the guy. And now, if you brought in Favreau, if you brought in Feige, if you had other people that could give him pushback, I think it'd be great to be involved. You just can't be the one in charge.
yeah, I mean, you could bring in someone like Chris Terrio, I think is his name, who did Thor, like, to bring that kind of light humor. Like, that's the thing. Star Wars is a space opera, people. Like, that's what it's like. There should be some levity to
I
it.
needed you to be like,
So, and so you bring someone like him to come in and do something like that. I mean, can you imagine the if they brought in Taika Waititi to do a Star Wars movie?
Well, we had that with Mandalorian. Those episodes were so good.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
George was involved in those, and he was around. But you had Favreau, you had Taika, you had all these other people putting their own flavor on it. And it was wonderful. And it was some of the best, most original stuff. So I'm fine with bringing George back. But you have to have other people around him. And Kennedy's never one to stand up to him.
he needs checks and balances.
He checks and balances. You have a team. That's all you need. He's
I believe
not.
that's the title of a West Wing episode.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Snyder, comparing the Snyder Cut to the
Funny
Lucas
fact:
Cut.
an episode of West Wing was directed by George Lucas.
Wait, really?
You're full of crap.
Oh, man. You have it.
So
It was the episode with all the midichlorians.
that one.
Fun fact, though, Gus is on there. Gus is on the West Wings. Charlie.
Did you catch his West Wing
Elaine
reference?
Hill.
And Psych?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He has he's like,
Is
this
wait,
is
is this
I've been
okay?
really good at it. I just
Is
lost it.
the Psych? Does the Psych movie out? I haven't done the.
Yes.
Is
it
it
is.
awesome?
It's good.
Excellent. It's good,
It
so
is-
not awesome.
No, it's awesome. I think I have to watch it again. There were like the lead into it was I wasn't expecting it, so I spent a lot of time confused, which is not the movie's fault. I spend a lot of my life confused. So, but yeah, because the formula is changed just a little bit,
Okay.
and so I was thrown off. But I think it's very good.
Awesome. So you had mentioned the Lucas cut and the Snyder cut. So there's been more and more things coming out from the Snyder cut. Basically, Zack Snyder says he refuses to use even a single frame of the Joss Whedon completed version of Justice League.
Do you think that's just him being petty, or?
I think there's a little pettiness.
I don't care. Like it's the if you look at he said during a live stream JusticeCon panel, he says, "I destroy the movie before I use a single frame that I didn't photograph. That's a hard fact. I'd blow it up."
I mean, I could
paraphrasing.
understand wanting to have your own work.
Right.
You
There's
know,
an argument for it, but it's just there's so many bad feelings.
but
and
I
there's
do think, yeah.
so much entrenched sides now. Us versus them that it's just.
He didn't have to say that. I would have figured it was implied because it's your cut, so it would have been your stuff.
It's not what he said; it's how he said it. Like I'd rather not make a movie at all than use a single frame directed by someone else. Like,
Yeah.
I
so
mean,
dramatic.
I did see, though, speaking of Joss, he was I saw an article that he was on Fillions.
Yeah, he crashed Fillion's panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
but other people. It was like a mini Firefly reunion. It
Yeah.
wasn't just Josh. They had a
Bless
bunch
you.
of-
bless you, Shams.
Uh,
Take some allergy pills.
rub a cat on your face.
Take some allergy pills.
uh,
Aww.
So, Zack Snyder's Justice League is an entirely new experience. He said, this will be an entirely new thing, especially talking to those who've seen the release movie, a new experience apart from that movie. You probably saw only 1/4 of what I did.
More Marthas.
More Martha. So, I mean, because they're talking about the fact that, you know, they said that the extended cut, basically like one of the cuts that he did, the first major cut of the film, was still 4 or 5 hours long. And so there's plenty there.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this to be a train wreck.
So we've seen Black Suit Superman. They released a sneak of Black Suit Superman. And they said that they will premiere new footage from the director's cut at the DC Fandom event in August. So we will have some stuff fairly soon. So that'll be cool.
Maybe by the time it comes out, we'll actually be able to watch it on Roku.
Maybe.
Is this 2021 or 2022?
2021.
Okay.
So, what are the people in Justice League? You've got the Flash, Hannah. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna go back to Psych.
Okay. Pause.
Well, because Lynn had commented and he had a good point that
Yes.
he had just had a stroke, not just, but had a stroke in real life, so they kind of work with him.
Well, he
With
just
it
had
on
a stroke
Skype,
before
he
the
had
first
just-
movie. And that's why they had to rewrite it. Like the night
Mhm.
before, they all stayed up and had to drastically
So they could make sure he could still be in it.
accommodate that for him. And then
Mhm.
I haven't seen the second one, but
It
I'm glad
was-
to know
It was a
what-
little emotional if you're a Lassie fan. Yeah. But I thought how they did it and everything was really good. So
Yeah.
we can continue on now.
Play. One of the people in Justice League, you've got Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg. They talked about the fact that the Cyborg was going to get written into the new Flash movie, stuff like that. But Ray Fisher can't seem to keep his mouth shut. And unfortunately, in Hollywood, that will get you in trouble.
Yeah.
And so he has been very open and whatever about how Joss Whedon and things like that, how it was on the Justice League set when all that was going on. And even to the point of violating non-disclosure, to the point that he might get sued. Rumors are that the studio is not happy with it, just because, you know, controversy and whatnot, and that he may now get written out of the Flash movie.
So I understand non-disclosure agreements so that you don't spoil things in the movie. Or, you know, like, I guess if you had any, like, a special way of filming, I mean, you know, like some technical stuff that you proprietary or something. But if something, and I'm not saying Josh did anything terrible, but just in general, if something horrible happened on the set, I feel like you should be able to speak up to make sure that doesn't happen again. You got to hold people accountable.
Yeah, but
you can't do it publicly. The non-disclosures, as I understand them, are blanket.
Yeah.
Everything and anything
I
that
know.
happens during the thing.
But that's what I'm saying is like maybe they need to put a few caveats in there. Like I get you needed to protect, you don't want drama. Like I understand their point of view. I think I'm just meaning like in general, like because I think that's sometimes how some of the more toxic, horrible stuff in Hollywood can still go on because they can't speak up because of these agreements or they're worried about their career or whatever.
Reported. It's just a ton of bad press, and everyone wants to distance themselves from Justice League. Like everyone knows it's a swamp show, and it's just putting bad taste in everyone's mouth. So I understand.
Like, and this point, like I get it. I don't really think, in my own opinion, that Josh, while he might have been a terrible personality-wise, I don't think
he'll admit it. Yeah,
like what happened. That was just more of a rant for generalized, like toxic, terrible Hollywood of maybe don't protect the actual really bad people and let people go.
And some people are going to take that, and some people are going to basically, like I said, they may risk legal action in terms of to expose those things, because a lot of times if you're really exposing something bad and you can do that and whatever, people traditionally are not going to go after you, but it could affect your career, that thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's true.
I am Chip. Hello from the UK. Hope you guys get through COVID. Much love. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We hope we do too.
Yeah, we're hoping. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very much. I hope you are well.
Recovery
I love the Flash. It's gone through like 4 or 5 revisions already, so it's already.
We don't even know if Ezra Miller is even going to be the Flash at this point.
Right. We don't know if that was even confirmed that they're going to Cyborg. They're constantly mixing up what they're doing with that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be completely unrelated that he's going to be
exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
When are they going to have a Flash movie? Who knows what's going to happen?
So, one movie that
We need a Beast Boy movie.
Isn't that what Titans is?
I'm just saying.
So we've got a, one of the biggest. Sam says again, just put Nick in charge.
So which Nick? I want a clarification on that.
which Nick? Yeah, Nick Fury.
I think most Nicks would be an improvement. Currently,
I like that. I do like the Nick Fury.
Just give us a panel of Nicks and Fauci.
Is that like the panel of Wells and Flash?
Yes.
What do they call it? Was it the panel of Wells, or what was it called? I thought it was something. Was it the panel of Wells? Council of Wells.
Council
of Wells. We need a council of Nicks.
Council of Nicks.
So, Sam says we need a random Nick generator.
That's a great idea.
I mean, here's the thing. If you look at, the thing is, if you take the Matrix as a thing, potentially that Nick could be good or could be Agent Nick. Like, you don't really know which one. So in the DC universe, one of the biggest stories of all time was Death in the Family, which is the death of Robin.
Jason Todd Robin.
And thank you. And the funny story goes back, if you don't know this, which is they gave the public the right to choose whether to kill him or keep him alive.
To kill a child.
To kill a child.
It always goes so well.
And it was a 1-800 number. Now, as the story goes, a few people basically bombarded the 1-800 number, basically like a dialing bot, in order to kill Jason Todd. That's what happened. So now...
Why would they trust the public?
I wish they would do this again.
Yeah, so let's do this
Kill
again.
another Robin.
Did we not learn this with All-Star voting?
Right.
That's true. That's very true.
Remember the year it was all Royals?
The DC Showcase released a new trailer for Batman: Death in the Family, and it's kind of this choose your own adventure type thing, where basically it's an interactive film, so you get to choose what happens. And so, I'm like, to me, there has to be, there's going to be the story where he's dead. There's going to be the story where he's not. There's going to be all this in between and stuff. If I am DC, and if you are literally selecting on the menu, like what happens, I don't know how you release this digitally and do that, but I'm sure you can.
Well, Netflix has done it.
Yeah,
Netflix.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So
we have
you have that whole piece of it. If I'm DC, I bury a scene so hard, so deep into that movie. Like you have to do like this, like this very particular order.
Find the crowbar.
People are going to
rewatch.
It's gonna be like a data mine for Destiny. People are gonna get the physical disc to find all the pieces and figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
If I'm DC, I bury an Easter egg in there, something significant, like a trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like that's the only place you can see it.
Like,
a trailer for Red Hood. A new movie, not the anime.
It
series.
would be relevant.
I watched the trailer for Red Hood again. It's great.
I would love just a Red Hood series.
Yeah.
I might not have liked him as Robin, but I think he's hilarious as Red Hood.
Superman Lives.
Doesn't Jensen Ackles want that job?
Yes. He voiced
watched it.
I know.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, he has a costume though. I'm pretty sure I've seen him wearing.
He has the costume. He would do more than voice if he could.
Yeah.
So this is the official release from Warner Brothers Animation, which it says 5 fascinating tales from iconic DC canon, including the first interactive film presentation in Warner Brothers home entertainment history, comes to the animated live and DC showcase Batman: Death in the Family. Anchoring the compilation of shorts is Batman: Death in the Family. Blah 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 blah. Going through, guided through the user's remote control. Central to the extended length short is an adaptation of Batman: Death in the Family, going back through numerous twists and turns in the middle, several possible endings. The choices along the way put greater weight on viewers' decisions that result in even stronger stories.
That's interesting.
So, in the new animated presentation, the infamous murder of Batman protege Jason Todd will be undone, and the destinies of Batman, Robin, and the Joker will play out in shocking new ways as viewers make multiple choices to control the story. And while Batman Under the Red Hood provides a baseline, which is great if you've never watched it, the story also branches into new directions and features several characters previously seen in the original film. So, I don't know. That's the one thing. We've said it 1,000 times. The one thing DC does great is animated.
Animated.
All right, so new anime Transformers is not on this week's agenda, Jeremy. I have not watched it yet, but
Sorry.
I've heard it's pretty amazing.
Jeremy knows.
It was Rooster Teeth, right?
I don't know who did. It's on Netflix right now.
I thought it was Rooster Teeth.
Did Rooster Teeth do it?
I'll double check that.
All right, double check that, because that's a perfect intro into gaming. So,
Jeremy knows how to play Sea of Thieves now, guys.
Sweet. He is a pirate.
He
Sea of
can
Thieves.
pirate with you guys.
It's true. It's very true.
So, Rock, did you find there was like 60,000 gold and 100 doubloons hidden in the maiden voyage? If you didn't find that, you should go and do it. There's like a key and there's like a secret chest, but it's really worth it. You get a ton of golden doubloons.
Interesting.
And
I'm not
those,
sure I knew
those
that.
I don't know if I believe him.
No, 100% serious. This isn't
There
church.
is.
This is to Nick. Don't believe church. Believe me.
Can he go back and do it?
Supported what
You
you
can go back
said.
and say that's fine. There's if you look at the commendations page for the maiden voyage, it tells you all the secrets. There's like 8 journals in there that you can unlock special sales, a special jacket.
Yeah,
There's
there's
a lot
totally a ton of gold.
There's a ton of things in there. For real.
Now
Check
I
the
don't know if I
commendations,
trust him.
It'll tell you.
I don't like.
Commendations prove it.
Go waste spend your hours looking for this gold. That's totally there.
I don't like it when church agrees with you. That is the confusing part.
Sam
But
also found it.
Sam,
And I,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sam. And I think Rev also found it. It's just Google it. Doesn't
Totally
walk
there.
around.
It's really there.
Sam will play with you if you need help.
It's a maiden voyage. You have to do it alone, so he won't.
Oh, sorry, he won't help you.
He did. I got
Sam says
distracted.
it is from Rooster Teeth. All right.
Thank you.
It is from
Thanks,
Okay.
Sam.
So,
He could just find the gold on the maiden voyage on YouTube, and it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
before we wander off DC too far, DC.
No, let's go back to Psych.
No,
You
DC
guys,
has
I love
released a-
Spike.
She feels about Psycho. I feel about West Wing.
I mean, I love West
Come
Wing
on,
too.
son.
Come on, son. Wait for it. Okay, anyway.
Funko has launched a Christmas in July series of Funko figures, including a bunch of a reindeer Flash, which looks hilarious. There's a Batman in a robe. There's a Joker, which I'm always in favor of.
Candlestick holder.
With the candlestick. Yep.
Oh, that was great.
There's also Target has a lot of Joker exclusives, so I'm putting this bounty out there now. If there are some that have some whatever, and you see them, let me know. So, guy in the bottom right, you train or are those all wall hangers? Asking about everything you got.
I hit people with them, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. So,
He does. You do hunt, right? I see a arrow thing back there.
Well, I kind of
Crossbow
shoot a skunk
arrow
once, but I
thing.
missed.
That's not what it's
I know,
called.
I don't hunt.
yeah.
Mostly
He
Sorry.
plays the most dangerous game.
The most
You know, just
dangerous
skunk
game.
people, So that's the only thing.
So there are a lot of Target exclusive Jokers. There's a penguin snowman from Hot
That
Topic.
looks cool.
There's basically a frozen Batman. But there is so many Joker exclusives or Target exclusives. You remember the I think Walmart had the Hulks, the chrome Hulks in all the different colors.
hmm
Target's getting the Jokers in all those different chrome colors. So if you see them, you let me know. So, because
Gotcha.
I have room for so much more crap in this room. I really don't. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there coming out, which is pretty cool. I'm, you know, there's also there's also several plushes coming out. There's a Batman plush without the candlestick, but he has like the sleeping cap.
I just love that
And
he
he looks-
looks so grumpy
He's
and
grumpy. Yep.
he's Bob Cratchit.
He pretty much is. I love it. I love it. So, yeah. So the holiday exclusives, a lot of those they said coming to Target, things like that. So keep an eye out.
We had Chrome Jokers before, but we didn't have Chrome Christmas Jokers.
Yeah, I believe they're Chrome Christmas Jokers. Yeah, I missed the first run of Chrome Jokers. I think. So we will
I also
see.
like that Harley's comes with the hyena that's dressed
Oh.
up like a reindeer.
Cav, did you see what I sent you earlier this morning?
I did. I'm a little disturbed by it, to be honest with you.
What did you think?
There's it's Church and I refer to it. There is a Rev Up Your Harley.
Yes.
Funko Pop. It's highly sexual.
How do you sexualize a rev? I mean, I know the Rev Up Your Harley. I don't know how you sexualize.
Church, will you send that to her?
Yeah.
Send it to her, and you will.
Just 1 second here.
Yeah, throw it in the Discord. Yeah. So yeah, there's a
Well,
lot.
how
Of,
do you not sexualize Harley? That's been her entire.
That's
Yeah,
the thing.
like-
Yeah.
well, here's the thing.
I
Like,
get her as a character, but just it's the Funko and the dead eyes that they all have, and
Oh,
like that would play to a very
Her
specific.
eyes, but everyone-
That's what people look at is the eyes. Yeah.
I'm saying.
yeah. Here's the thing. I never put any stock in the dead eyes. Now I'm not going to be able to see anything but a bunch of dead little plastic people. Like,
They ruined Funko for us.
so.
You're
Yeah.
Yep.
might not be dead. They could be drugged, and that's
Sure.
why they
Of
have it.
course.
How's that
Is that-
better?
I'm just giving you alternatives.
I wonder I wonder if that Harley with the hyena is a regular size or one of the 10-inch. Because if that's a regular size Funko Pop
10-inch?
with like
David 10-inch?
with like a 1-inch little hyena that's dressed as a reindeer,
Mhm.
I'll buy it just for the little reindeer hyena.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I love that. He looks so angry. With his
Yeah.
cute little
I will
angry-
say that, like, here's the thing. Harley in original Batman the animated series prior to Mad Love, so prior to that, like that is not a super sexual Harley.
You're right. The animated
But-
series. It's not. Yeah.
It's not. But when Harley ended up in the comics and then the costume change,
Yeah.
everything changed.
Well, the first costume was great. Yeah.
The
Every
first costume was amazing.
when the Fire Nation attacked.
So a lot of cool Funko Pops coming out there, which is going to be amazing. All right, so what we're talking about, all right, Transformers: War on Cybertron, done by Rooster Teeth, obviously made famous, I would say, by Red versus Blue is probably
Absolutely.
what made
Yeah.
them famous. Done, Halo. A lot of stuff has come out since we talked about Halo last week. Several things. There is to Earth 2 Nick's point. There is a new Halo Infinite Nerf M40 blaster that comes with a DLC code. So I expect that to be painted in something to make it look like a BR because it's a pretty decent looking BR. Comes with some DLC. There was a time when I really wish Lego, like real Lego, had the Halo license, not
Mhm.
Mega Bloks.
Mhm.
I had a lot of the Halo. There was a time when I was like super Halo obsessed. Like I get hyper obsessed about things. People who know me know this, right?
Me too.
And so I had like all these Mega Bloks Halo sets, stuff like that. Did some of the big builds. I had a Forward Unto Dawn, which is basically the biggest set they've ever done. I never built it because somebody wanted and offered me a stupid amount of money for it.
Oh wow.
And so I'm like, okay, here you go. And so, but they said that some of the things, Microsoft has come out and said a couple of things about Halo that are I feel very important. Multiplayer is going to be free to play, which is awesome. So a free to play. Well, I think it is.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't. Unbeliever Rick says I'm like that, and that's why I don't collect things. Man, I feel you. Like there are times when like To talk about to make another West Wing reference, it's my better angels on my shoulder. Sometimes they're getting shouted down. Like that's what happens to me.
There are some things where I'm like, I can't start this because I know that I will go immediately into the deep end. I'll just jump all in.
Yeah. Who here has basically they know that I think Hannah, I think you said this. You are a completionist like I am.
Yeah.
And so it's
Unbeliever Rick is smarter than us all, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he's a Rick.
It's true.
Rick and
Rick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm in. But like I get super obsessed about things, which is why like stuff like comic book art that I collected was I don't want to say it's easy because there's only one of them. Like original art, there's only one. And so like you kind of get that hit all the time, but that's bad. That's very bad. Like to get that constant. So
that's why Pokemon Go is good because you can just catch them all. Stay in your phone, and so you're good. You're like, if you feel that itch coming, just go.
Is that why we are the way we are? Is because from a young age we were trained by Pokemon to catch them all? I could have started this compulsion in that.
So super minimalist after moving for the first time and sold off all my collections. Thank God for that new Thundercat series that came out. So, and, I was to me, the first time I moved was also that big purge for me. Like I purged a lot of stuff. I sold a lot of stuff. The best advice I was ever given is when you move, the first thing you should do is have a dumpster delivered in your driveway. Because it makes it so easy to throw stuff away that you're not putting it in bags and stuff like that. You're like, oh, well, this has this sort of value or whatever. Like, you can just purge, and it feels really good.
It does feel good to get rid. As much as it feels good to buy things, it also feels good to get rid of things.
Yeah. So going to the Halo multiplayer thing, I guarantee you there's going to be 9,000 different Master Chief skins that you can buy and stuff like that. They're going to use the free to play and the skins and things like that to basically financially back the rest of the game.
I'm fine with that. My problem is, do any of us like play Fortnite? Like, I don't want to play Halo with a bunch of like 6-year-olds. It's like I want a paywall. Like you have to have a career to finance Halo.
That's
I want a community for my video game.
Already though.
Halo kind of lost me with their multiplayer because of that. I was like, I just want to play capture the flag and lose amongst my friends. I don't need to be playing amongst other people.
We need to have another bachelor party somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. Unbelievable, Rick. There should be a 30+ server in Halo. Absolutely.
Yes.
And so I think what we don't know is that multiplayer is going to be free to play, but what we don't know is, because I think a lot of people have these same concerns, which is will there if there is a quote BR version of Halo or whatever it is, like is there a multiplayer that exists only to people who own the game? Now, what I find very interesting is that they're talking about this multiplayer will also support 120 frames per second, which is insane because they haven't even confirmed that. I don't think I hadn't heard to this point for the main game itself.
That's a lot of frames.
That's a lot of frames. And so that gives me hope for the console power in general. Mm-hmm. But it would not surprise me if you see a free version of Halo, whatever, Halo Infinite multiplayer or something. And there's something if you own the game that you can do. Because you have to incentivize people to do that. People aren't going to buy. There's so much multiplayer. Like so many people buy games just for multiplayer. Look at COD with their 37-minute campaigns and stuff like that. People buy it for the multiplayer. Nobody's gonna buy. People are buying Halo, like people who want to play Halo, things like that. People, especially people coming from Destiny and things like that. Like people will want something more than that. And so I hope there is some sort of delineation that maybe there is some sort of crossplay. But if you only want to play with this, I agree with you 100%. Like I don't want to deal with 6-year-olds doing horrible things to my dead avatar.
Well, it's good to have the large player base because you want to find a game very fast. You want a large user count. So opening it up really increases your player base without people having to shell out money. What I think will differentiate it, because they've done this before, is with map packs. or they'll have like this history of the game, and then 3 months, 6 months from now, they have playlists that are all the new maps. So if you want to play Halo, you can play it for free on the basic like 3 maps, and then maybe with the base game, or if you want to pay and buy maps individually, there's other playlists and other game types.
Like Destiny.
Yeah. So like Unbeliever Rick's talking about he single player games should be an afterthought compared to multiplayer games. Like I love a good campaign. Like I disagree with that. I love a good campaign. But the multiplayer aspect of a game like Destiny or Halo or something like that keeps me coming back to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Look what Titanfall did. They built a multiplayer game that was amazing. Yeah. Well, Titanfall 2 has some of the best campaign I've ever played. I still love the multiplayer, but a 10-hour, very tight campaign is one of the highlights of my single-player campaign. I love Titanfall 2.
Yeah, Titanfall is one of those games. When it came out, Titanfall 1 was revolutionary in what it was doing.
Yeah.
And but for whatever reason, it picked up, but it didn't get the buzz I feel like it really deserved. Like I really enjoyed it. Titanfall 2 fell off a freaking cliff for some reason, but the hardcores who've gone in, the hardcores who have played it will live and die by Titanfall. Yeah. And
they put it right before 4 other big releases, and it just got swamped by Call of Duty.
I mean, wall running, for Pete's sake, like it's so cool. And so
I think you're right. You want your core mechanics. Like Titanfall is like, let's focus on what makes a fun multiplayer, and then they built the campaign around it. But they had to get that balance right of multiplayer. Yeah. And a lot of games don't do that. So.
Isn't wall running just parkour? I thought you could do that in Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
You're acting like Titanfall and Benedict.
It's the same thing. It's basically...
It is, but here's the thing. I've played Prince of Persia enough to know how absolutely infuriating trying to do anything in Prince of Persia is compared to wall running.
Full disclosure, I have not played Titanfall, and I very quickly gave up on Prince of Persia, so I'm just talking.
You got wall running in Jedi Fallen Order too. I mean, it's there and it's done really well. And so... so okay, first game I ever bought DLC for was Mech Assault. Figure out the licensing. Mech Assault is a game... I played Mech Assault way back in the day. And I don't know who owns it at this point. Like, it's one of those things that...
Gundam.
He says, every single time there's new movement in a shooter, it's interesting. Just look at Sunset Overdrive. I have not played Sunset Overdrive, but it came with... used to be bundled with the Xbox. So... a lot of people were complaining about the Halo graphics and things like that with the Halo Infinite graphics. And they've come out and said, hey, here's the deal. We are working on it. What you saw was an earlier build. I have no concerns over what it's going to look like when it's done. Like,
it wasn't a graphic presentation. It was all about the gameplay and the mechanics in the world. And I love that part.
And so what what people are overlooking, and I talked about this last week, the brutes can throw grunts now.
Yeah.
Like, this is a gameplay mechanic.
Jetpacks.
Yep. And so...
open world, like where you go and what you do.
Yeah, and they have confirmed that, like, they said, typically Halo was a traditional cover shooter. Like, you find cover, you shoot, whatever, stuff like that. They're like, that changes because now a brute can throw a grunt behind you or at you. Like, it will change everything.
And the grapple shot, it changes how you traverse the level entirely, how they're designed to route to get high ground.
Yeah.
How many hidden things are they going to, put, skulls, or, I know they don't do treasure chests, just, things like that you can only get to with the grappling hook.
Yeah. Well, you think how much they say that you had to do grenade jumps, and you had to do all these other secrets, so...
Yeah. Here's the thing. All I want is, because brutes are brutes and they're mean people, is they stick an exploding grenade on a grunt and they throw it at you, and when it explodes, it's the confetti.
It's the confetti skull.
Really suicide grunts too, if I remember correctly from that one shot.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays. I'm excited about it.
I just want to capture the flag.
It has to be. CTF has to be there. It's gotta be, right? I mean, it's gotta be there.
You think they'll bring in a whatever they call those survival shooters, whatever Fortnite and PUBG, like
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale, thank you. Do you think they'll build in that mode? Because that's like the big thing right now.
There was a lot of talk early on in Halo Infinite with they said they were going to do a Battle Royale and it would put something like, and the quote they used was an insane number of players. So people were talking about 200, 300 person battle royales.
Mhm.
Can you imagine the size of a map you have to support 300 people?
I can. It's a ring.
Yeah, and so you gotta go all the way around. And so,
Just put them all on midship.
Put them all in midship.
Because you basically be like, bang, bang. Dead already. All right.
So I'll be very like they'll have to bring back some of that stuff, and so they have confirmed local 2-player split screen, which is cool. And then they have also confirmed up to 4 players online. So 4. Now I don't know if that says it's 4-player split screen.
Which,
and I think that's probably just a callback to olden days,
Mhm.
but it's probably an option, kind of like how in Command and Conquer you can run new remastered graphics, or just like in the Master Chief Collection, you can go back and forth between the two, between the old graphics and the new remastered, in Halo 1. And so it was funny. I was watching another Twitch stream. Liam McIntyre, who played Weather Wizard on Flash, he was also Spartacus. He has a Twitch channel, and he was playing Command and Conquer, and Command and Conquer is one of my all-time favorite games. And basically, his thing he was doing with bits and tips or whatever was having to play the game in potato mode, which is basically the old graphics. And people were basically giving him bits, stuff like that, to switch it back and forth or whatever. What I don't understand is, granted, this guy plays in 2 series that I really like quite a bit. There's 25 people watching him on Twitch, and that's it. It was pretty entertaining.
So Sam and I just went through all the Halos in the last week. And it's so nice having the dual graphics. In some parts, they look so much better. They're beautiful and gorgeous. But then in some parts, it's too crowded. We were going to the old graphics because there's no grass or the fog. If we had low light areas that we were really struggling with, we switched to the old graphics, and then it was headshot, 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 because there was just less clutter on the screen.
Yeah.
So
that's how it used to be. One of the things in early PUBG days is people would drop their graphics down to low because you can't hide in the grass if the grass is one blade of grass, as opposed to high and stuff like that. So there's that as well. We talked about this last week too, talking about Fable, the new Fable remaster. We're talking 2-3 years before not remaster, sorry, new Fable game, 2 or 3 years before we see it. But we'll have some Halo Infinite to do in between then. So I'm sure we'll get more. There's been rumors of an August showcase as well for Halo Infinite, or for Xbox in general. At that point, we've got to get because there's been a lot of rumors about the November release, not a Christmas release, a Thanksgiving release.
It has to be Christmas. You have to have the build-up time before Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that the console. There's a lot of rumors pointing at a November release, at a
for
Thanksgiving
Black
release.
Friday.
Yeah, whichever place is closed. Target and Walmart and stuff are going to be closed for Black Friday. This is,
Are they just going to be? Are they closed for Black Friday or just on Thanksgiving?
I'm sorry. I at some point I put them all together in
I
this
know,
48-hour shopping bonanza.
They've been doing that, but I didn't know.
I think on Thanksgiving. Yeah, you were correct. On Thanksgiving. So, yeah. Halo Infinite. There's a lot of backlash because it's Halo. I get it. It's going to be this thing, but the free to play multiplayer.
They need to show some respect.
The free to play multiplayer, like you said, it may be map packs. That may be how they differentiate what it's going to be.
In the past, so I wouldn't surprise me if you get something to get people hooked that people can play, and then you do something else for the paying players of more content.
Yeah. Speaking of games and paying players and DLC and stuff like that, I am for the first time actually excited about this Avengers game that's coming out because it is more. Speaking
of respect that's needed.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. We'll get to that in just 1 second. This is a looter shooter. The Avengers game has a loot and shoot mechanic to it.
Oh, loot and shoot. I really thought you said lunar shooter, and I was
looter shooter.
Based on the moon.
Where it came from.
Yeah. So
Black Bolt, he's on the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, so it has some looter shooter aspects to it, which to a completionist like myself and like you, really leans hard into what gets me addicted into a game. So that's coming out. I think it's next month. It will come out. They released a new trailer. It looks good. I'll pick it up. I'll day one pick it up if not pre-order. I know pre-ordering's bad. Whatever. Because
why is it bad?
Because people say you shouldn't pre-order unless you know a game is good.
There's no reason to pre-order anymore. There's no physical copies. They're not going to run out.
Yeah.
Wait till the game comes out and they fix all the bugs and you get reviews. There's no reason to pre-order.
Oh, so it's like people.
I like cosmetic things. I want to be a bright purple Hulk.
It's like people that don't want you to get
Sounds
first.
like an extra life challenge to me.
Like they're not going to go out and get the brand new iPhone, and they're going to wait a little bit until it's.
Yeah.
Well, there's a history of them people releasing games and then they're just.
I get it.
Like,
No,
Yeah.
I get it. I've seen. I've
why do we
seen.
pay studios for this garbage that they won't fix for 3 months?
Yeah.
I've seen
So-
the eyeballs with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. So.
Arkham Knight on PC. So
Sam is popping over there.
What?
Oh, Sam is popping something in one of the other chats here. But they've announced the first post-launch hero, none other than Hawkeye himself. Post-launch hero. He's not been in any of the promotions, anything like that. They said Hawkeye will be the game's first post-launch hero. He will not be available at launch. Don't know when he's going to be added, but he will be attainable for free
For free.
once he arrives.
well, it sounds like they're also including new story with him, like post-campaign story. Right?
Have his own chain of story missions to experience, which I don't understand how they're doing that for free. Like,
Yeah.
that's the...
I wonder if there's so much backlash that
Is
they're.
it something they should have done from the start?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
so,
it's one thing to make a character. It's another thing to like do new cinematics and new story. Like that's a lot of time and money.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
mean,
there's a lot of things that have hurt this game already. Right when it came out, people weren't thrilled. So you throw some free content, some amazing content featuring, the most popular.
I got a backlash because of the statue and like a trailer, right?
The statue?
which statue?
Well, there's like a trailer where someone was like defacing like a Captain America statue or something. I can't remember what it was, but it came out like in real time. Like they made this trailer like a year ago or two. They wrote it like a long time ago, and it happened right during all the protests when people were like attacking statues and tearing things down in real life. And so it got like really politicized. But
Jeremy, I want to talk about this real quick. I'm going to press pause because I want to talk about Grounded for half a second. Grounded looks like so much fun. It is there's not a ton in it right now. It is a early release game, but some of the videos of people like Ithalian and people like that playing Grounded and what happens when a giant spider shows up are the funniest things I've seen, period. Like, it looks like a lot of fun. There's just not a lot there. Not yet. But it's cross-platform, so I do think that the four of us gaming people should get together and do a stream of Grounded, and then if Jeremy's playing, we can feed him to the spider. So,
Out of love.
Poor Rock.
yeah.
it's not a very good fit.
Well, here's the interesting thing is there is actually an arachnophobia mode in Grounded that can take the spider out completely or change its visuals for people who have serious arachnophobia. Here's the thing,
That's
because the default look of the spider, like, I don't mind spiders that much. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's
And it
terrifying,
jumps.
like the Lord of the Rings spider.
Yes. Red eyeballs.
I thought you were going to say, like, the spiders never stop coming.
That's what I thought too. Like arachnophobia mode, all spiders, all
Yeah.
the time.
So, back to games. Unbeliever makes an interesting point. As a multiplayer gamer, if you don't get the game when it's new, the player base is going to drop off way quicker because it's used to, because there's so many games.
That's what happened with Titanfall 2.
Yep.
It just immediately got swamped by the new games coming out. And I think that's kind of the appeal of having it free to play, is that you have a larger player base that will come back to it. They didn't have to pay money. So they wanted to increase the amount of people that can play it at any time. I think that's can be a good thing.
Well, and Bungie's talked about the way they finance some of the extra missions in Destiny and stuff like that is through like paid skins and stuff like that they do. It makes
I have no
sense,
problem
and
with
so yeah, if there's going to be, I don't mind being bland Master Chief, but you know what? If I want a lightish red armor, I'm going to go buy a lightish red armor.
That's what Sea of
Like
Thieves
that's
is. All of
yeah.
us bought cats because they're awesome, but there's nothing mechanically inclined. They just rest the balance. But like, hey, you've been doing free content for 2 years. Like, I'll buy a fancy hat or a cat, sure.
In the way Sea of Thieves is, I mean, the beginning of this because they were the first major release on Game Pass for people, so they're getting a piece or every whenever people are downloading or installing, like they are the. I'm glad you got that, Sam. They are they're the leader in what it looks like, and that's why even Destiny is coming to Game Pass for Xbox, stuff like that, because all of a sudden it's this recurring model of revenue and things like that, which makes games can continue to be better. Halo Infinite's going to be on Game Pass, for Pete's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Games can continue to be better. My only concern is, depending on how many hands are in the pot of Game Pass and who's getting paid what, how long is it before the price for Game Pass goes up?
Yeah.
So, there's that piece of it. So
Well, you also have the cross-platform piece. Like, that's huge. If you want players to be on your server, if you want to have a quick load game, you want to find players, having PC, Xbox, phone, having all these people kind of come together, you don't have these separate silos.
Yep.
I bet they have tiers
Yeah,
for this.
could be.
Well, that was kind of the downside when they did like with ODST. They had like the map packs, and then you could never play the new maps because maybe only like 100 people out of however million that were playing the game had the exclusive maps. So you bought them, but then you could never really play them.
You never really use them.
It was a rare rotation. Yeah.
Marvel Avengers releases on September 4th for PC, PS4, Stadia, and Xbox One, and later for PS5 and Series X. So we're talking about we're a month away. So
it is kind of like Clint, I have to say, to show up late.
Appropriate.
He's probably fighting some bros off on his own adventure.
Yes.
And then was my bad, guys, sorry.
Bro.
So they have said that Hawkeye and his missions.
Bro.
Seriously, bro. I'm good.
Hawkeye and his missions will be based on My Life as a Weapon Marvel Comics run, the Matt Fraction.
Yeah.
The Matt Fraction run, that's where it's going to be out of. So.
Bro, that's awesome, bro.
That's awesome.
Yes.
If you have not read his run, it is amazing. Whether you're a Hawkeye fan or not, it's fantastic, and the artwork on it is so good. And they show him. Shut up. We got to talk about West Wing forever, so I can sit here and talk about my other obsession, which is Hawkeye. So, as I was saying, but no, it is so good, and it shows him actually, it talks about being hearing impaired because he gets hit a lot. I can't quite remember what he did to knock it back out again, but so it shows the sign language and stuff like that, and seeing that in a comic, how that was illustrated, was so awesome.
The Lucky issue.
Yes, and having the point of view from his dog was so great too. And they have this running bit of what is the show that they all watch, and Clint's behind on it. It's the superhero pets, and he's behind on it. So
Paw Patrol?
What?
Paw Patrol? No.
I mean, it's like that, but it was superheroes of the dogs, and so
firefighters are superheroes. That's what a.
So they keep everyone keeps trying to talk to him about it, and he's like, "Spoilers! Shut up! You can't." But then they actually show it, and so you get to see all the little dogs dressed up, which are all basically just the Avengers as dogs.
Nice.
But they did a lot of awesome stuff. I'm done now.
They said at the end of the Hawkeye trailer they released, there is a dog barking, so assuming that Lucky is also going to show up in the game. So.
Also, sorry, Kate Bishop is really good in it
Well,
too.
it's just phenomenal.
That was my introduction to Kate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she doesn't. She's sarcastic and
Mhm.
she's
She's
good at what
perfect.
she does, but she doesn't put up. Like she does not care that Clint is an Avenger. She
Hopefully
doesn't
she's
care
a-
that any of them are Avengers that she runs into. Really,
Justice League bets.
like she'll call them out. She does whatever, so it'll be really awesome.
Really? With the abs and everything? Clint?
She does. Yeah, she's like really. She calls them out.
Crystal Dynamics has said the ever-present Avengers Initiative will feature all the content players experience after beating the main campaign. So,
Nice.
yeah, gonna be amazing.
They're gonna make you work for it.
Yes.
Hams, what did you think of Barney?
I liked Barney. Barney is Clint's brother, in case you were wondering. He's not the best guy, but he was trying really hard.
He's got a heart of gold.
A little bit. He had a good kind of redemption-ish story. Sorry, Cav. I know you're like, we gotta move on.
Oh, we're moving on. So, let's talk about a couple animated things that are coming out. They're going to hit. A new Green Hornet animated series is coming from Kevin Smith. It will be the children of the original Green Hornet, including the daughter of Kato. So this is coming from, he's working with Wild Brain on this. Now, he has already written, Kevin Smith has already written a Green Hornet treatment anyways. He wrote a Green Hornet comic. He said, it's an honor to escort the legendary Green Hornet and Kato into their very own animated series for the first time in the rich history of these iconic pop culture characters. We'll be telling the tale of two Hornets, past and future, that spans generation and draws inspiration from a lifetime spent watching classic cartoons and amazing animation like Batman the Animated Series, Heavy Metal, and Super Friends. I can't believe Wild Brain gave me this job, and I can't thank them enough for the opportunity to extend my childhood a little longer.
I trust anything Kevin Smith does because he's such a nerd. He loves it all. Like, he will baby everything, like, make sure it's right.
And with what he's done or doing with Masters of the Universe, the animated Netflix series, and so like having him in charge of some of the animated stuff would be very interesting. And also is one of his podcast partners, Scott Mosier, who started with Clerks and goes way back, and he does Smodcast with them on occasion. He is very big in animation. He was one of the directors or producers on the latest Grinch movie, things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised, like, hey, I get to work with my friends again, that type of thing, which could be cool. Another animated series, I believe it's animated, that's coming to Netflix is Splinter Cell. So Splinter Cell is getting an animated series, which I'm going to be like, why Netflix, animate, whatever. And then I think about what they did with Castlevania.
I love Castlevania.
And you get a writer, you get Derek Kolstad, who wrote John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, you're going to get this crazy, awesome, action-oriented thing that Netflix has already committed to a 2-season, 16-episode commitment. Stylized as adult animation, similar to what the War on Cybertron is. I assume maybe not in that anime style, but probably the Castlevania style.
Mm-hmm.
And so it will be a very... I'm interested in that. Like, I like what Netflix is doing with those sort of things.
Me too. I was about to say, I think that they're seeing that there is a market for it. A whole generation that grew up on those cartoons and those video games, like, we don't really view it as just like a Looney Tunes, like, kids type show. Like, we can realize it's still a story, and like, there's still value to it, and like, there's money to be made from Netflix. Is all I'm saying.
100%. They said they
because there's a need. I mean, there's a want for those types of things.
You could justify need.
We need to.
You could.
Like, we need a Hawkeye show.
We do.
Yes, we do.
You'll get one.
We're getting it.
That's not
It'll
just,
happen.
that has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Need it.
So, speaking of something else we need, I'm excited about this because I thought this was going to be animated to start. We're getting another Witcher. We're getting another Witcher series.
Mm-hmm. The prequel story? Yeah.
We're getting the prequel story.
I just
They
realized,
already ordered it. That's really fast.
you guys are wearing the same shirt.
Different
It's a
colors.
slightly different
All
color.
three of us.
But
So,
sorry, continue.
Witcher Blood Origin will take place 1,200 years before Geralt of Rivia. And so it is a I believe they said it is a 6-part live action spinoff. So they said 6-part. They didn't say 6 episodes. Like, I don't know if that's 6 2-hour movies, 6 hour-and-a-half long episodes. Like, I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, there's no. Is
Henry Cavill going to be in it?
No way.
1,200 years before Geralt.
He could play his own father. Our great grandfather, I guess.
Where I was getting confused is in January, Netflix announced Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, which is the anime taken of that. So, Hand Grenade 37, Heyo podcast. I'm stoked. Hey, Hand Grenade, how are you?
Heyo.
Thanks for watching over at Twitch.
Yeah.
So
Twitch is really liking us today.
Twitch is popular today. We must have been we must have ended up in the algorithm somehow this week. So
because we're so awesome.
So you've got Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf.
Netflix is going all in on Witcher, huh?
Why not?
It's just oversaturation can be a not so great thing at times.
But Witcher is so broad.
Yeah.
Like
It is.
You could tell
But
so many different stories.
we know that.
Mm-hmm.
But does everyone?
Yeah.
Netflix does.
Well, I mean, Netflix.
I think that they're just trying to build an extended universe like Star Wars or any of these other.
What you don't want to do
I just don't want to see too much all at once, and then it collapses like a flan in a cupboard.
But you don't have to watch it all at once because it's streaming. So you could just do bits and pieces, or you could wait 5 years from now and pick it up.
But wouldn't you want? I mean, to counter that argument, like if you liked Witcher, you liked the series, would you not want Witcher content?
Yeah.
Like on the regular.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be great.
Those
I
of us
want regular,
that get obsessed.
more often than a Stranger Things season. But
Yeah, will we even know when that's happening? I don't even think we know.
Look what Game of Thrones did. They had all these like prequel spinoffs done, and then they just
They
Drop
canned them
the mic.
all.
they canned them all because they fumbled it at the end.
Mhm.
So everyone's like, "No, I don't want any more of this. I don't want to watch anymore. I'm done. I'm moving on." So if you do it now, before like everything's still good, people are interested, and you
Before
have
the Game of Thrones, The Witcher is what you're saying?
yeah, like, right, make this stuff now before
You-
season 2's awful.
You know that there are more obsessive people like Cav and I that like once we get something, we want everything of that thing. Like that they will watch it. There's a market for that oversaturation right now.
They're making it different. They're doing it way before and the way after. There's a lot of content there they can explore and still differentiate yourself from the main series.
If I could get a prequel to West Wing and an animated series to West Wing, I would watch the heck out of both.
The prequel to Psych, the animated series to Psych.
Yeah, give me
Choose Your Own
spin-offs.
Adventure, West Wing.
Yeah,
I mean,
give
here,
me
this
spin-offs
is
for each character. I'm there.
this is what we need. This is the story we need to tell, even if it's animated. Okay, Charlie Young
Yeah.
goes
Yes.
into witness protection
Yes.
and becomes Gus.
I'm going to watch that 100%.
Like,
Connect.
bring the universes together.
And then what if you had flashbacks, like reshoot, so you see like Sean like in the background, just walking
Just
Behind-
visually insert him into.
pineapple or just something. So
Well,
like
he had all the early jobs, too. He could have been like a barista in like one scene. Like,
he's the one
So
like
there we
handing
go.
him the cup. He's the
This-
one that's like stealing the glasses that they have to search for the
Yeah.
president. And like
and then we
See-
connect Parks and Rec, where Chris Traeger, he like used to be the president, he left, and then he ended up in like local government. We can
you
connect
could
all
do
of
it
these.
too because Bradley Whitford was in there and he plays a council or Congress or whoever politician in there. So Josh Simon just went over to Pawnee.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at what point, though, do we have to be concerned? I mean, Sam does bring up an excellent point. That's why Sean only gives him nicknames, because he really doesn't know what his actual name is.
That's a great point. Thank you, Sam.
Is
Church looks
It-
so mad.
if all of the if all of the West Wing people like all end up in witness protection somehow, some way, doing something. I mean, granted, witness protection, one of the things is like you can't have a job like you had, so Bradley Whitford probably couldn't be in politics. But this is our universe. We don't play by those same rules.
No.
And so, but if every one of them is going in witness protection, and for whatever reason President Bartlett is doing a drug coupon commercial, like I don't know, Like, it's just.
Well, they had the
I don't
episode.
think that people would not recognize him.
The president.
He used to be the president. No, president
Nah,
wasn't doing a commercial.
Yeah.
Well, they had that episode, right, where there was the shooting, the assassination attempt. So, their lives have been in danger before. So there is reason to assume that they would, the leap is not that far to somehow connect them to witness protection program.
I mean, not
That's
far
right.
in our universe, far in the real world, but in our world, it's something completely different. I feel like I need a really big whiteboard so we can start,
Right.
or maybe the red yarn.
Well, yeah, I was wanted to do that. Yeah.
I know with Parks and Rec, Mike Schur is a huge West Wing fan, so that's why there's all those nods to it. So he would be for it.
Nice.
So maybe we don't have Psych as much. Well, we need them somehow, but we could have the Schurverse, so they could be in there for Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That's true.
Bradley
That's true.
Whitford. He
Yep.
had a kid in New York and then just left him and went to DC. Yeah.
Someone. Oh yeah, because
Became
Bradley
a
Whitford
pilot.
was in there.
He was a
Yeah.
pilot
Pilot.
dad. Yeah, Captain.
Yep.
Someone needs to write this fanfic.
Yep.
That's out there
So,
listening.
We're going to write it, Hannah.
we're going to write this. All right, so we've got Witcher animated series, Nightmare of the Wolf. We've got a prequel called Blood Origin. And so it's being described as 1,200 years before Geralt of Rivia to explore a period when the monsters, men, and elves merged into one and the first Witcher came to be. That's a story that's...
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd watch it.
That show was hilarious, Sam.
That
I
was
can't
so
remember what
good.
it's called. It was
The
so
good guys.
Yes, good guys. And so, absolutely, you've got... it is being helmed by Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich, who is the showrunner on the main Witcher series. So you're going to talk... So it'll be a similar tone. So I'm
Consistency,
in
too.
favor
I
of
think
this.
that's really important to have one person kind of in charge of it. So.
Yep. All right, so we're going to end on a couple of quick other Marvel things. Have you all been following... Well, actually, I'm going to save that for the last, so that we'll end on a high note here. Ryan Reynolds has revealed why Deadpool 3 is taking so long. He released an Unsolved Mysteries trailer of still trying to solve the first leak for the first Deadpool movie, which was 5 years ago. So
That was really cute.
yeah. So it's pretty. Some people are theorizing that similar to that leak of that footage and stuff like that, that this is his way to push Marvel, be like, hey, let's get to work here.
Well, still fan support. Like, people want it, and I think executives get distance from it, and then they get surprised when there's a huge outcry from the fans. Like, oh, wow, they actually did like Deadpool.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I
speaking
just
of,
assume they're trying to figure out how to work a character like Deadpool into Disney.
They haven't announced anything with any of the Fox characters.
Yeah.
They've been mum's the word, and it's been quite a long time.
Mhm.
Almost 2 years.
yeah,
They got to figure out COVID first.
no, Sam, Kathleen
No.
Kennedy is not allowed near The Witcher,
Or anything.
or Marvel, or anything.
Been around.
Have you guys seen this thing where Ryan Reynolds offered $5,000 for this bear to be returned to this
That
child?
was so sweet. And they found it, and they returned it.
They found the bear. So we're gonna end on this, even though we've got more in the agenda. But we're gonna end on this. We'll move some stuff into next week. But Ryan Reynolds basically had said a bear had been lost or stolen. Do we know? I think it was stolen.
Probably stolen, but lost, missing.
Yeah. And so the bear had a voice module in it with the voice of this person's mother who had passed away, of this child. Is it a child's mother?
It was a backpack that was stolen, and the only thing they cared about was the bear. Like, a backpack was
Gotcha.
taken. Like, we just want the bear back. It had the voice recording of my mom, her last message to me, and it's irreplaceable.
Gotcha. So Ryan Reynolds heard of this story, tweeted $5,000 to anyone who returns this bear, 0 questions. And come to find out, they said at Happier News, thanks to everyone who searched high and low, to the person who took the bear, thanks for keeping it safe. Vancouver is awesome. The bear was found.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's pretty. That's always cool when you see people use their platform for something like that. And
He
so,
does that a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's been doing that a
He's
lot.
awesome.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. You take some, but they also talked about that him and his wife Blake Lively recently donated $200,000 to the NAACP to support social justice movements, things like that. And
They donated for when the pandemic first came out too, like $1 million or something.
So they've done a lot of great things. So it's cool to see somebody like that, like I said, use their platform for something good, to that. So we're going to end this on a West Wing fun fact. Speaking of using your platform for good, so throughout the seasons, you've got Toby Ziegler, Richard Schiff. He throws the red ball against the wall all the time. You can actually buy an autographed red Spalding ball, autographed by Richard Schiff, and all the proceeds go to. Hold on, I'll tell you what it is. It's a full charity thing. Which computer am I on? I can't spell.
That is not a silent key.
No, that is that's the mechanical. Sorry.
We have a
That's the
mechanical.
super loud one.
I'm gonna promote Slight. It also is a movie with Jewel Hill, and it's wonderful.
Okay.
It's like a street musician who tries to take down some like drug lords in his community.
Also, Toby Ziegler is in the Psych movie.
Oh, good.
Richard Schiff, whatever.
He's also in Speed.
So, if you needed to connect them anymore.
So they have a.
Hi, Brian! Sorry.
Whoa, be easy there. Hi, Brian. How are you? So you can. It actually. It supports the ACLU of Southern California. So, yep. So you can buy an autographed. Basically, something. Now that thing, like I'd autograph it, but like I wouldn't want to throw it against the wall.
Right? It almost feel like when you get autographed baseballs and you got to put them in
Put him in a case. Oh, 100%. You're gonna have to put him in a case. So there's a picture of him signing all of them, signing them as well. So, like I said, just someone using their platform and doing something good. So I think that is pretty cool. So, all right, gang. I think that's it. Like I said, we've got more in the agenda, but we'll run some stuff into next week. As a reminder, next week we are moving to 1:00 Central Standard Time. There will be more faces potentially by doing that, and so you might see Sam. So there might be a little bit more rotation than we have traditionally seen of people in and out and whatever. So it's going to be fun, but. It has been a great episode. Thanks everybody on Twitch who is hanging out and said hello and chimed in. So thanks to Unbeliever Rick and I am Chip, Hand Grenade, everyone who stopped by, said hello. Everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. As always, sources for today's show can be found on GatherTheNerds.com, including the articles that we didn't even get to. So we'll have to move on some of that stuff. But all right, gang, this has been episode 159. Nine. Yeah, lies, damn lies, and statistics. I'm just gonna start labeling everything a West Wing title, whether it actually, the crackpots in these women. Like that's what we're gonna call it. All right, gang. I'm Cav. That's Hannah.
Bye. I'm not evil.
Church.
See you guys. Be kind. Be safe.
And Earth to Nick.
You stay classy, internet.
Thanks, guys. See you guys. Bye-bye.